crafters, welcome back to my channel, Margaret Knob Designs. This is our monthly collaboration called Smash Our Stash that is hosted by Beth from Bourbon Creek Crafts. This month our challenge was, or our jumping off words or whatever, was smashing a pad, a kit, whatever we wanted to that was a group type of thing. So the reason why this is sitting in here is that I wanted to show you. I had done this a couple, I don't remember even exactly when I did, but I talked about smashing a solid paper pad and putting it all together and having it ready for card bases. And then what I did is I also took and had this ready for, for the sentiments that would match the paper that is in here. And so I had cut up a whole big ream of colored paper, and I then put it all into here and here. And I wanted to tell you that I use these card bases to put on top of my white or craft cardstock, and I made the cards that I'm going to show you today. I also, when doing multiple cards, I like to do really one pattern when I do multiple cards. I've never done this many cards at one time, but this time I did, and I had this pad from one of the Spellbinder kits that I wanted to smash the stash. And I did it almost. I had one, I had two pieces left over, and I could have gone and done them, but they were, I've got another idea I'm going to do with this. So I just have two of these little sheets left over, but the rest of the pad is completely gone. And so I made 72 cards. They're all the same pattern, so everything was cut the same, which makes making cards so much easier. And when you send these cards out to individuals, they're never going to know that someone else got the card that you had got. So the reason why I have them stacked this way is because I used a template that is put out on her website, Crafty Al, call me Crafty Al, and she has, every month she gives out what they call a sheet load of cards, and she gives a template for those that are subscribed to her channel. So I will also show you a bit of these cards, but check out Crafty Al. This is May. This is the May template for Show Us Your Sheet Load. And what I like best about it is that everything is cut the same. So once I cut it, I just it just goes so easily. These card bases were about a quarter of an inch shorter than what her pattern was for this solid card base. So I just cut those two little quarter inches off, and so that's the only scrap that I had out of this pad of paper, because everything else worked perfectly on my cards. The other thing that I did is that these were a little bit wider, the way I cut them to the way they were on the template. And so what I did is when I cut off these shorter pieces from the template, I took all of these pieces and I put them to the inside of the card. That was some of the pattern paper, and the ones that were from any of the sentiment strips that were bigger, I used those on the inside of the card, just as a little bit of, just little something on the inside. So, like I said, the only thing that ended up being thrown away or junk from any of this pattern, and using these with the sentiment strips that match this paper, the only thing was 2 quarter-inch pieces from from every one of these cards. So I did have a stack of like unusable little bits and bobs that I threw away, but otherwise everything was used. So when I first started out, this is one of the first patterns, and I did use some foam dots underneath the sentiment, and I did that right away for both of these 6 card sets. I used 2 sentiments. One was happy birthday and one was thinking of you. And I did the same thing with this card collage, was the thinking of you and happy birthday. And that's what I used for all the sentiments that I put onto cards. So I popped them up on these, but I soon realized that it was going to take a lot longer than I really wanted it to. So I then went to the next decision, and I made these with the sentiment strips down. And as you can see, each one of these cards, while being the same paper, they're mixed as far as how they go on, and so how they're going to look than the other ones. So I'm just going to show you these real quick so that you can take a look at what some of these different patterns look like. Some of them look pretty, this looks pretty similar, but there's a different one here and a different one there. I mixed them up, especially because this is single-sided paper. I also had to make sure that I mixed up the cutoffs very cleanly. So in order to make sure that I used the right size and the right way the design of the paper went. And on these, some of these I thought, oh, they're not going to look very good together, but I really like the way I don't think there's one of them that I put together that I didn't like. And I'll show you one that I thought I was really going to hate. Well, this piece of the cardstock only had a little corner of it with a pattern. So this was pretty plain when I went through this, and then here's a solid green. I think I'm going to come back for some of these, and I have some ephemera pieces that I can use, and so I might go back and put some ephemera pieces on these if I think that it looks a little plain. Like this one I think looks great. This one to me looks a little plain, but we'll see. You know, I'm not necessarily having to want to spend a million hours on this. This is the combination that I thought was going to look awful together, but it was like I had to try to use them that all came together in the pad. But I really think that a lot of it turned out. I used a pink in the background. I used a craft cardstock, and I'm just surprised how well it turned out. I love the purple ones, and I actually really, really like this one as well. I like the green behind it, even though it's not exactly the same green, but it really complements these papers so well. So I also have several card stacks here that I'm going to show you that I don't have any sentiments on, and I will go back and put sentiments on, but I wanted to have some that were without sentiments so I could maybe make sympathy cards or hello friend, do a couple different sentiments, and I'm going to take a look at them and I'll see what I've got in different sentiments that would work on those strips. So there's that set. And then this is one of my favorites as well because I like the navy blue and the purple. I think it looks great together. And this one may be a nice one for using with sympathy. There we go. Just run through the rest of these real quick. They look plain without the sentiment, but I tell you, you put that sentiment on and it really makes it look really finished and looks good together. So this is, again, Crafty Al's template for Show Us Your Sheet Load for May. And I'm I'm going to have to go back and do some of her other sheet loads, I think, because I just like it. I like the repetition if I'm making a lot of cards. I prefer not to have to think about every template every single time I make a new card. So this is my Smash My Stash for the month of June. And thank you so much for spending time with me. And I hope that you enjoyed looking at my combination of cards. Thank you so much. Have a great day.